What are treasury bills and what are government bonds? That's what we'd like to look at today. I would like you to understand these two investment options so that when you invest in the future, you can invest with confidence. T-bills is a short form for treasury bills, and bonds is a short form for government bonds. So we are going to compare these two. When you are looking at treasury bills, you are looking at investment options offered by the government. So the government offers you an option to buy a treasury bill or to buy a government bond. When you combine these two investment options, we call them government securities. So that is what we are going to look at today, and we are going to discuss what these two things are by looking at their tenure, their interest expectations, the minimum required for you to get started, how the deduction is done, and how the cash flow works. Alright, so let us go now straight into our discussion. So for treasury bills, we know that treasury bills come in terms of days. In short, you can buy a treasury bill for 91 days, 182 days, 273 days, or 364 days. When you are talking about government bonds, you are talking about years. If you are talking about years, it means that you can buy a government bond for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, and 15 years. So the key difference between treasury bills and government bonds is that treasury bills are short term because you're talking about days, and government bonds are long term because you are talking about years. How much interest do you expect to make on a treasury bill? You expect to make something between 9% and 15%. On a government bond, you expect to make something between 15% to 24%. In finance, they say that if the risk is low, you expect the return to be low. For treasury bills, you are only dealing with up to 364 days. In short, you are just dealing with 1 year. When you are just dealing with 1 year, you know that the effects of inflation are quite low. The risk is not as much. That is why we see the interest low. On the other hand, for bonds, because they are long term, there are issues of inflation and interest rate risk. As a result, to compensate you for that risk, you are given a better return. That is how government bonds work. Now, if you want to get started, how much money do you need? For treasury bills, you only need a 1,000. With a 1,000, you'll be able to get started. How about government bonds? It's the same. With a 1,000, you can be able to get started. We can conclude, therefore, that treasury bills are not for rich people. An ordinary Zambian who can make a 1,000 should be able to invest. Now, how is the deduction done? For a treasury bill, the deduction is done at a discount. What that means is, if you buy a treasury bill for 1,000, what will be deducted from your bank account will not be a 1,000. What will be deducted will be something lesser than a 1,000. That is why they say treasury bills are sold at a discount. If the interest rate, say, is 10%, it means that 10% of 1,000, which is about 100 kwacha, if 100 kwacha is the interest, it means that what will be deducted from your account is only a 900 kwacha. That is 1,000 minus the 100 kwacha interest. But then, when we are looking at a government bond is offered at face value. What that means is, if you buy a government bond for 1,000, a 1,000 will be deducted from your bank account. So that is the difference. So one of my mentees said, no, I bought a treasury bill for 100,000, but it's not 100,000 that was deducted. About 82,000 was deducted. Where could be the problem? So there was no problem there. The issue was just that treasury bills are offered at a discount. All right, then as we conclude, we look at how cash flow is paid. So for treasury bills, cash flow is paid at maturity. If you buy a treasury bill for 91 days, after 91 days, you'll be paid back the principal together with the interest. If you buy a treasury bill for 182 days, after 182 days, you'll be paid back the principal and the interest. Everything is paid at maturity, and the key thing that you need to remember is that you are only paid once. When you're dealing with a treasury bill, you are only paid once. Now, how is the payment on a government? How does payment on a government bond work? For a government bond, you are paid every 6 months. The interest that you are paid in those 6 months is what is known as a coupon payment. If the interest rate on this 1,000 was a 10%, it means that 100 kwacha will be paid twice in a year. Instead of giving you the whole 100 kwacha at once, you will be given a 50 kwacha after 6 months. Say if you invested in January, it means that in June you'll be given a 50 kwacha, and in December you'll be given 50 kwacha. And then if you invested the 1,000 for 5 years, it means that for 5 years you'll be given a 50 kwacha every 6 months. Then after 5 years, you'll be given back the 1,000 together with the last 50 kwacha. So that is the difference between a treasury bill and a government bond. If you are not clear, or if you have got questions, what you do is just contact me on WhatsApp. Then I'll be able to help you. So the number to contact me on is 0969 29 30 78. Thank you so much for listening.